Yo, what's poppin', Bagel Bros, and welcome back to another Patreon rant. If you want one of these for yourself, go to the link in the description. Give me $5 on Patreon, or 10, you do you, right? More money for me is better. I am doing rants that were just posted like 2 hours ago. I didn't expect to be doing them so soon, but I just did a rant, and so I'm like, why not? Funky Boy Haas says, rant about the YouTube content you liked when you were a kid, what kind of videos you liked, what channels you enjoyed, and any specific videos that are especially nostalgic to you. If the channels you mention are still active today, talk about how they've changed and evolved or deteriorated over the years. So, I haven't actually done any notes or introspecting about this rant request yet, so I'm just going through this off the fucking cuff, right? So, my first experience with YouTube was Donkey Kong Country playthroughs, and not Let's Plays, commentary-less playthroughs. I remember sitting down with my brothers and just watching this game, and I was so fascinated by it. I was like, God, I want to play this game. I even got to the point of asking for an SNES for my birthday, seeing how much it costed and trying to get Donkey Kong. I never actually ended up getting it. Don't know why that never happened, but, whatever, right? And so, when we first moved to Illinois, for a while, our house didn't have Wi-Fi, which today would kill me. Literally, it's how I make my money online. But back then, I could go a few weeks without having any Wi-Fi. I'd just play my video games, right? But there, I was starting to get antsy. I was starting to miss the YouTube needle in my arm. And I forget what exactly I was watching at the time, but what I do remember is that one of my classmates at the time, his name was Elijah. I don't know how I fucking remember his name because I only knew him for a single school year, but I do remember him, Elijah. He was talking about this channel called Popular MMOs. And that is really where my YouTube journey begins, because at 9 years old, I got really into Pat and Jen. And specifically, I got into the early epic proportions, the Season 1 stuff, right? I also liked the mob arenas and the mod showcases, right? Stuff like that. He was a modded Minecraft YouTuber, and I was obsessed with Minecraft at the time, but more than that, I wanted mods so badly. Now, God, I remember back when we lived not in Illinois, I'm not going to say exactly where, just so you can't, I'm afraid of getting doxxed, essentially, even though it is very little information to go off of, but back when we didn't live here, I remembered, recording videos on my mom's iPod Nano. I'm fairly certain that happened before we moved to Illinois anyway. And I recorded a series called Mob vs. Wild, where I would, just see, how mobs functioned in different biomes. It was really shit, is what I'm getting at. But that proves to me that at some point before Popular MMOs, I had watched Minecraft on YouTube. I don't know who. Before Popular MMOs, I legitimately don't know, who I watched from YouTube. I could not name, an actual channel. But after that point, I can name plenty of them. Minecraft YouTubers, you got Dan TDM, the Diamond Minecart, who I watched for a little bit. IBX Toy Cat, who made videos about Minecraft console version for the Xbox 360 primarily. He had a huge creative world that he updated regularly, and he would use background footage of him building in that world on his, commentary about Minecraft. He was sort of like a Phoenix, what the fuck is Phoenix SC, I think his channel name is. He's sort of like that figure, except for Minecraft console. He uploaded twice a day, and his videos were long as shit compared to Phoenix SC, who just gives you the bare minimum. They were no effort sorts of uploads, and so I pretty quickly fell off of his content. but Popular MMOs was the one I stayed with for the longest. Now, obviously, where Popular MMOs is today, he got arrested. He got fucking arrested. He's also been accused of beating his girlfriend. Well, first of all, he broke up with Jen, right? They divorced because Jen wanted children and he did not. And then he started dating this other chick who Pat says to this day lied about him beating her. Now, there is no way to prove what actually went down, as far as I know. Now, granted, I am not especially caught up on this situation. I know there's been some downfall videos about Popular MMOs. I have not seen them. All I know is that he was arrested for, it was something about fucking up a football game. One of his friends did it. It was some kind of prank they pulled in a football game. Like, running out onto the field, I think. Yeah, I think that was it. One of his friends was like, I want to get arrested. Very normal sentence. And so he decided to just disrupt the football game and get arrested that way. And because Pat had helped in this, helped set up the situation to where he could run out on the football field, however whatever role he had, he was arrested for it. Eventually let out of jail. He didn't serve any time, as far as I know. I don't know if his friend served time, but I think Pat got out scot-free. So it wasn't for beating his girlfriend or anything, but I know the police did investigate that. I do not believe an arrest was made for it. But once again, I could be wrong about this. All I know is that his channel's fucking dead. After Jen left, when you make every single video on your channel with your wife and then divorce her, yeah, it's kind of a fucking big deal. You're not gonna survive after that. At least probably not. So after the Minecraft era, things get weird with my YouTube habits. To give you an idea, a while back, I checked back on an old YouTube account that I had abandoned a very long time ago. And I literally didn't recognize 90% of my subscriptions. Back when I was 12, I was subbed to Jack Doherty. If you know him now, it's for crashing his car and being a sociopath. He crashed his McLaren, and his friend was bleeding out his forehead because the car is totaled, by the way. And it's Jack Doherty's fault. He was texting while driving. But the reason why this kid is the way he is, right? He's my age. I think he's 20, maybe a little older. I don't fucking know. But he's a sociopath, and the reason why is because he was raised on douche-tubers. He was raised on your fucking rice gum adjacent douchey vloggers. And Jack Doherty is kind of the version of me. Well, I never would have been that bad, but the version of me that could have been had I continued watching stuff like that. Because I did watch, his fucking gay-ass floor is lava in Walmart challenges. That sort of dumb shit when I was like 11, 12, probably up to when I was 13 even. I had a brief Jake Paul phase, then a slightly longer Logan Paul phase. And then, I got out of the bandwagon before the Suicide Forest incident, for reference. My brother was still on the fucking Logan Paul train. And I remember before the Suicide Forest incident happened, or rather, right after it did, but before it became public, my brother was telling me, like, holy shit, this guy, found... Well, he didn't say holy shit, because none of us cussed around each other, we were afraid of it, but... he said, like, oh my goodness, this guy found a dead body in the Suicide Forest. And I was like, bro, he fucking faked it. He definitely did. Like, there's no way he did that. And then sure enough, the day after, it's all over the news. People are like, holy fuck, this guy actually filmed a dead body. And it was like, I thought it was fake. I thought he just faked it. So that was, that's a funny story in regards to that. And, my brother was hyped about it, but obviously he was 11 at the time. He did not have a functioning frontal lobe. I didn't either. I was 13, I think. But It's just a funny story to think back on. I am thankful that I was not, still watching him so that I would keep defending his actions and whatnot. And actually, oh god, voice crack, what got me to stop watching Logan Paul, it was a combination of, first of all, I was just really fucking bored of his content. Like, it was a chore to keep up with the daily vlogs. You can't keep up with a daily vlogger. It's impossible unless you're a sociopath. And Logan Paul, all his videos are like 20 minutes at the time. And I got bored of him. But secondly, he had a controversy that nobody brings up anymore. Because, the Prime and the fucking, the lead in it, and the fucking suicide forest, and the tasing dead rats, and the scamming his audience with CryptoZoo, all that has overshadowed, first of all, like, the weird fucking diss war that he had with his brother at the time, which I, of course, bought into completely, thought it was completely for real. Obviously, it was fake. It was obviously fake. But, another controversy he had at the time, though, was that he plagiarized a song. He made a song where the chorus, I forget what it was called, was basically, I can ride yo girl with no handlebars, right? The worst hook in existence. It was, like, dog shit, cringe. I think even at the time, I thought it was cringe. But, anyway, it turns out the song was plagiarized, and it was from a much more innocent song, where the chorus was like, I can ride my bike with no handlebars. It's like this goofy, wholesome comedy song, written from the perspective of, like, a young kid, is my understanding of it. And the song artist came out and was like, what the fuck? You stole my song, without credit. I, at the time, who had seen the song before I can ride, my bike with no handlebars, I had no idea it was, based on another song. You could claim parody, and maybe that is a sound defense. I haven't, re-litigated this drama or re-investigated it at all, and it's been 7 years. But to my memory, he just plagiarized a song. He just fucking stole it without credit. Potentially. I am not claiming this with confidence. And obviously, Logan Paul has just gotten worse and worse. Same with Jake Paul. But where I bring this up is because, once again, my YouTube viewing habits were fucking weird. Because simultaneously, and I must stress this enough, at the same time, actually, this predates the Logan Paul and Jake Paul stuff, but I got into fucking Grade A Under A. Grade A Under A. Who would have... I don't think he made a video on Jake or Logan Paul, because he was on one of his many hiatuses again by that point. But he would have fucking hated them. He would have made fun of them the entire time. So I cannot stress this enough. I am, like, watching complete polar opposites, right? I was watching iDubbbz soon afterwards. I'm not sure exactly when I got into him, but around, a similar time. I, at the very least, was watching Content Cop around the same time as Grade A Under A. I remember watching the Leafy is Here Content Cop and how, revolutionary that was for YouTube at the time. And then simultaneously with that, I was still watching Minecraft YouTubers like Grian. I was also watching Storytime animators a little, I'm not sure if that was simultaneously or a little later down the line, but from the odd ones out. And so, my tastes were really diverse. Some of them were complete trash content, and people who were douche-tubers and have now, lost all respect in the public eye. Some of them were, Grade A Under A has made a video about, like, oh, the COVID-19 virus isn't that bad, people didn't like that, and so you could say that Grade A Under A's reputation is kinda nuked at this point, though not to the same degree. Grian, I think people still like, but I haven't watched his content in a long time, so I wouldn't know. Odd Ones Out, I haven't seen in ages. I remember I also watched Jaden Animations, Something Else YT, Something else just kind of fell off the face of the earth for a while, then came back with a weird new animation style. I have vague memories of it because I just skimmed it. So, I don't know what the fuck is going on with them. Jaden Animations, still popular. Probably the one who's, like, most active in the community still. So, we're now beginning to get to the point in time where I'm developing my frontal lobe, right? So, oh fuck, I nearly forgot to mention this. I got into H3 Productions at the same time! I cannot stress this enough! Same time! As fucking Jake Paul. And then I think H3 is actually who made me unsub from him, because H3 made all those videos about, like, oh, here's what Jake Paul is doing. He's annoying his neighbors. He's cringe. And I just kind of followed his advice and was like, oh, okay, Jake Paul's cringe now. Because once again, no frontal lobe. And I think this would have been when I was 13? 13. Summer of when I turned 13, to be precise. And then, around January would have been the Suicide Forest incident. And that was when I got into PewDiePie. So, for about a year, I was subscribed to PewDiePie. Or, probably a little over that, probably like 2 years, right? And funnily enough, I remember vividly, I was thinking about unsubbing from PewDiePie. Because I was like, his content's getting kind of stale. You know, he's another daily uploader. You cannot watch a daily uploader every day. You will fall behind. And I was just thinking, like, should probably unsub from that guy. And the same day was when he uploaded Bitch Lasagna. And I was like, you know what? You got me. I'm staying along for the ride. And the subscribe to PewDiePie meme was probably one of the best times on YouTube. Unless you were Indian, but, you know, for everyone else. But it was like, it felt like this moment of the community coming together against a force that, you know, this corporation. This was back when people were still kind of optimistic about YouTube. You know, even though we had just had demonetization, and even though we had, you know, we had been through a lot. But even still, there was a bit of optimism, because PewDiePie was the biggest channel, and if you subbed on all your ults, you could get him to, you know, pass T-Series again, right? And that went from like 60 million to 100 million. And now he's at 110 million, losing subs. You know, he is stagnating, right? But that I will always remember that era of YouTube history. I also just realized I forgot some of the people that I was subbed to when I was 12. Because there's so many. I cannot stress enough how many, like, disparate communities I was a part of. At the same time, well, this actually predated, you know, all the douche tubers, you know, that phase I had, right? The daily vloggers. Before that, I got into channels like, Psycho. If you know who Psycho is, he is, his main channel is about glitch hunting, and his videos are really well edited, really well put together. He eventually went on hiatus, and then kept on going on hiatus, and his channel is dead now. Psycho Plays, he uploaded daily on for a while, then his channel died, then he stopped uploading, and he's been on like 50 hiatuses, and now he works a real job again. So, RIP, rest in peace, Psycho Plays. You made my childhood, though. He was one of my favorite channels for a very long time. Another channel I liked was I Hate Everything, who, at the time, I feel like channels like I Hate Everything were part of the reason why I am so critical now, because he got me into film analysis, and fuck, who would have gotten me into game analysis? I can't remember who would have been the very first game reviewer I would have gotten into. I guess Picaspri was early on. So, maybe Picaspri, but there has to be someone before then. I feel like there was someone before then who I'm just blanking on. But, you know, there were a lot of people I was into, right? I Hate Everything, I think, is still going, but I haven't checked in on his channel in a while. At the same time, I was also into Geometry Dash. I watched the Mute Trolls video on whether Geometry Dash players are skilled or hackers a little while after it came out, probably about a year, maybe 7 months. So that was a cool moment in history. I watched Merg, who nowadays does not do much in the way of Geometry Dash. It's more so Undertale. But I remember just being so impressed by him beating Windy Lands. Oh god, burp. By him beating Windy Landscape. It was just this incredible accomplishment in the game. Obviously, I didn't know about Bloodbath at the time. And then a little later on, this was probably when I was 13 during the year of... Would that have been 2018 or 2019? Probably 2018 is when I got into, like... I'm trying to remember the exact timeline here, but around the same time as, like, these douche tubers probably, or maybe a little before, I was getting into Riversiver, I was getting into Whirlwind. Now, that probably would have been, like, 2018. I was probably right earlier. Riversiver has since been disowned by the Geometry Dash community because he made a lot of troll tweets during the George Floyd protests about fucking I can't breathe and shit like that, right? He was just memeing the entire situation. This was after taking an extended hiatus from the community. And even when he was in the community, people did not like him because he was an edgy kid and he hated everything and he was just kind of an annoying shit, and so people didn't really like him. Whirlwind he got into politics for a little while and I unsubbed, but right now he is so back, just making Geometry Dash videos, and I am in his server, and I have been a part of his community since, God, 2019. Early 2019 would have been when I joined Whirlwind's server. So yeah, it would have been late 2018 when I got into Whirlwind. And this was... I actually got into him because he made videos on Riversiver's accidental face reveal. He accidentally showed his face on live stream. And he made some videos about, like, hey, you know, Riversiver was, like, making a response to the controversy. And Whirlwind's take was basically, just don't mention it. Or, you know, you're just letting people know it exists. Don't draw... You know, you're doing a Streisand effect, essentially. And Whirlwind eventually, you know, he made some neat commentary videos about, like, the fucking Wood Kid versus God Eater. He made that video. What was the level called? NobbleBoy stole Manix's level, but I forget what the level was called. So he had he had the good takes on most things. You know, and then obviously, like, politics I can't really speak for because that's not my area of expertise, and I didn't watch most of his political videos, I'm not gonna lie. The one that I did watch, Everything is Political, I did actually agree with, so who knows. But anyway, after that point, God, this rant is going on forever. How much battery do I have left on my laptop? Alright, so I better hurry the fuck up. Right, so after this, 2019 we're starting to enter the era of my modern YouTube tastes. I've sort of fallen off all the cringe douche tubers, and I've started making, my own videos, essentially. But something that I need to also mention is that, God, there's so many pieces to this fucking pie. Mumkey Jones. That's who we're talking about next. Mumkey Jones is a surprisingly influential person in my life. I am, like, if you think about the timeline, the ramifications of his existence, it is insane. It is mind-boggling to think about. So, Mumkey Jones is an edgy comedian. And his MO is basically making jokes that offend as many people as possible. And he will parody anything and everything. His main series was about Elliot Rodger. Now, a side story to this is that Mumkey Jones is, I won't say the reason that I'm atheist, because I think that I would have come to this conclusion no matter what, given just the general trajectory of my life and my thought processes. I was a cynical, analytical guy, right? I was into fucking film analysis and game analysis by this point. I was very much a critical thinker, or at least fancied myself as such. I was into all the level reviewers in Geometry Dash. And so, I feel like it would have been an atheist either way, but Monkey Jones in the current timeline is what kicked it off for me. Because he made a video reviewing the Torah, in his series Monkey's Anime Reviews, which was just, obviously the joke is, it's not an anime, it's not even a manga, as he calls it in the video. But, he's reviewing it anyway, and he's basically just satirically recapping the plot of the Old Testament. If you don't know, the Torah is the Jewish book, but it's also the first half of the Christian book. And hearing what was actually in the first half of the Christian book, and hearing it just laid out satirically, with Monkey Jones clearly being an atheist himself, just poking fun at everything in it, and being like, well, this is gay and bad. In his fucking, just all the shit that happens, I was like, damn, this kind of goofy, actually. I'm not a Christian anymore, am I? Now, ironically, I wouldn't use any of the points he makes in that video anymore, except for, there's probably some decent ones in there that I could still use to justify my atheism, but I would have to rewatch the video. It has been a hot minute, a very piping hot minute, and you'll see why in a bit. Nowadays I use more intellectual heady things, like burden of proof and all that gay shit. But back then, that convinced me. And it was a full 2 years of me going to church and being too afraid to tell my parents that I was an atheist. So I was in the closet as an atheist. We don't need to get into all that. What's more important to the story is the even bigger effect that Monkey Jones inadvertently had on my life, because this edgy comedian, and this is another instance, it's weird. Every time I think of unsubbing from people, they do something insane or something crazy happens that makes me stay on the hook just a little bit longer. Monkey Jones was beginning to bore me. I was beginning to be like, maybe I should just call it quits for this guy. But then, his channel is terminated. His channel is terminated unfairly. He was given 6 strikes in a single day for his Elliot Rodger videos, and also a private video and a random video on his second channel talking about little boy juice. It's perfume from Japan that's supposed to smell like a little boy. It's a weird perfume that he's reviewing, essentially. It's a joke video. These 6 strikes were all given at once on the same day on his, both his channels. And so, he was gone. He was gone from the platform. He tried making new channels. They were deleted immediately. He eventually makes a video, arguing for his, him to get back on the site, right? This is early 2019, it would have been. So he argues his case. Now, Monkey Jones is a much stronger man than I in terms of this. He calls the CEO of YouTube, Susan Wojcicki, a horse-faced bitch in this video. He, does this skit where his girlfriend in a horse mask plays the role of Susan Wojcicki and fucking shoots him after kidnapping him and calls her a horse-faced bitch. I cannot stress this enough. He has balls of steel. So, this all goes down, and he's a martyr. He is seen as a martyr in the wider YouTube community, and everyone rallies around him, myself included. And his termination inspired me to start Crunchy Bagels. Now, technically, I have 2 videos predating the termination of Monkey Jones on this channel. And so you can argue that maybe, it would have happened the same way regardless, it would have just gotten into YouTube either way. But, one of those was a video that I made in Sony Vegas before I knew how to render it properly, and so it looks like shit, and it's currently privated, and the script is garbage anyway. And the second one is the first video publicly available on my channel, Warrior Cats, a in-depth review. And after that, there are a bunch of privated videos that I no longer have up. Yep. And the reason why is because my 14-year-old ass decided I'm gonna make edgy comedy videos in the style of Monkey Jones, inspired by his greatness. All in spite of you, like, all just to spite the platform, because up to this point, I had seen YouTube as sort of my dream job, even as early as me being, like, a 12-year-old. And this was the moment where even after, you know, the demonetization, the douche tubers, the T-series, all that shit, even after that point, I was still on board. I was still like, you know what, this still seems like the ideal career. And obviously, like, I'm mixing up the timeline a little bit. I know Congratulations was, I think, released in 2019, if I'm not mistaken. So the timeline's a bit fucky the way I'm telling it, but, you know, there's just so much to go over. But I got into YouTube through edgy comedy videos, which are no longer available. The only one that is available is Harry Potter is Dumb, because that was a review, which is more in line with my main content, and also I wasn't saying shit like the Jew Klux Klan. Yes, actual quote from one of my videos. As for where Monkey Jones is now, his life has kind of been fucked. He cheated on his girlfriend, got really into drugs, started dating an actual pedophile, like literal honest-to-God pedophile. Her name is Lou, and I think she dated a 15-year-old. Either dated or sexted him, I can't remember. And after that, he spiraled into depression. He made a lot of publicly available videos on no longer his channel. I think it was for a while his website. Then he came back to YouTube back when, after his channel stopped getting insta-banned. He came back to YouTube under Simeon Jimmy, and he started, you know, putting out depression chambers, not decompression. He admitted to cheating on his girlfriend. He talked about how he wanted to kill himself. It got really dark for a while. Eventually got on antidepressants, started not caring about anything, and then now he does a podcast called The Trash Rats, and his main channel is basically dead. I assume he has a real job, but I don't actually know. And a lot of the videos he made after his ban were still good. He uploaded them to his own personal website for a while before coming back to YouTube. And now that website is taken down, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, it's a tragedy what happened. Now, I'm going to stop the recording because my laptop is almost out of power and my voice is basically hoarse, so we'll continue this another time. As a bookmark, we're currently at early 2019. I've just started my channel. Alright, bye. And now, half a month has gone by. Yep, the first half of this rant was somewhere early in December, and now it is December 30th, and I'm in the rant rapids once again, trying to get them all done before the end of the month. This time for realsies, instead of all the overdue rants. Yeah, so last time, I haven't actually re-listened to that part of the rant, so oops, my bad, but I remember that I stopped right after Monkey Jones' termination. And this brings us to, I would consider this to be the modern stage of my YouTube taste. And also, I just want to mention, I forgot to mention stuff like my PokeTuber arc when I was 12. Oops, there are so many YouTubers I've been into, you know, over the years that I am no longer into. But this marks the stage of the modern crunchy experience with YouTube, where I start getting into YouTubers who I'm still subscribed to this day, such as Lemon. You know, I've been an Lemon fan for ages. I fell off of his content for a little bit, but I got back into it in a big way, and now I would consider him to literally be my favorite YouTuber. Ever since 2 Days in More Oklahoma, he is my #1 favorite channel. Like, I love that guy. As for some YouTubers who I am no longer into, because, I mean, Emplemon, he's still going strong to this day. There's not really a story there to delve into, but in terms of YouTubers I used to like, one of them is Turkey Tom, and I used to be big into commentary YouTube, is what they call it, right? Commentary or drama YouTube, where they're essentially making videos exposing each other. And every time I check back on the community, they've excised one new member from it. It's kind of hilarious. These people eat each other alive as soon as, you know, they find out, oh, you have like skeletons in your closet. Not even that that's unjust in the scenarios that I've seen, but just that I could not imagine being in a community where that's the prevailing mindset of, at any point, someone could be exposed for being, you know, a piece of shit or whatever, and as soon as we do that, we're gonna, like, milk it to shit for content, right? I feel like if I had a YouTube buddy, best friend, buddy old pal, I would just hate it. I would just be like, he was my friend, and now, you know, I don't really want to talk about it publicly. You know, it's a mindset that I can't really get into. But back in the day, right, drama YouTube was my shit, because I grew up on iDubbbz and Grade A Under A. Right, Grade A Under A, if you don't know, stopped uploading. I think I mentioned that in the last part of this. iDubbbz has kind of fallen off. Granted, I don't keep up with him anymore, but I saw his Cold Ones appearance, and he just felt humorless. He felt like a shell of his former self. Not to say that, you know, oh, iDubbbz should keep saying the N-word, you know, that's what we want from him. It's not. It really isn't. Good that you stopped saying it. I more so care about him no longer being charming, I guess, in the same way he used to be. You know, and maybe, like, I know that some of those Content Cop videos are gonna age poor as shit. Like, the part where he unironically tells Keemstar to kill himself. That, I think, crosses a line. But, you know, there's stuff that made him appealing that he just does not have anymore. And also, change your fucky ass haircut, holy shit. He would be infinitely more bearable if he just dressed well and had nice hair and ditched the mustache. But anyway, going back to who I started this section off with, Turkey Tom, another creator who I am sure, if I went back to those old videos with my adult mindset instead of being a fucking 16-year-old, I'm sure I would think it all cringe, right? I know that people have had a lot of problems with his older stuff. Ironically, I am a Digibro fan. Well, ex-Digibro fan, because after transitioning both gender and content, it hasn't really been the same. And, you know, that's ironic considering I did used to be a Turkey Tom supporter who, if you don't know, made an expose video on Digibro. So, there is that. And it was a really bad one that he had to delete. Or so I heard. I haven't actually seen it. But, trying to stay on topic, I got to watch Turkey Tom slowly become a content farm. And this is actually a similar experience I had to Sunny V2, where Turkey Tom felt like he was just doing things out of passion at first. And maybe he is still passionate. You know, that is very possible, but his content has become so stock, so plug and play. The editing is terrible in his new stuff. It feels soulless, and I cannot, I can't watch it anymore. I find them so fucking boring. Like, it is just so plug and play. The editing is terrible. The scripting is not very good. There is no, drama to the way he says things. If he has a good video, it's because the story is just that good, not because he told it in an interesting way. You know, and it didn't used to be like that, it felt. Granted, before he did, once again, more drama-centric stuff, whereas now he does more documentary-style stuff, is theoretically in the same wheelhouse that I am, except that I do, you know, I cover completely different stuff. Similar thing with Sunny V2, where I subbed to him back in the day after his Stampy Longhead video, which was the first video of his that ever blew up, and it was a big video essay when it came out, and it felt like at the time he did care about his videos a little bit. You know, he wasn't my favorite creator or anything like that, but I did like some of the stuff he put out around that time, and then over time, obviously, like, he just became unbearable. Like, it is, like, his editing style is one of the most insufferable on YouTube. I know I'm cutting a promo here, but also not. I'm cutting plenty of promos as is. I also got into AniTube at the time. I used to be a Giguk fan. That lasted about 2 months before I discovered Digibro, who basically revolutionized the way I look at media. You know, I'm not even exaggerating. Like, Digibro taught me how to be analytical about media, essentially. You know, she formed a lot of my mindset about being analytical. And it really helped in being able to, you know, look at good directing and figure out why I like it, or look at good characters and figure out why I like them. It also helps that I was just watching a shit ton of anime at the time. So I mean, I've had a 30-minute rant about why Digibro has inspired me, so I'm not going to go too deep into it because it already exists, and I'd just be repeating myself, but she really, you know, formed a lot of my writing style. Another creator I really like is HBomberGuy, one of my favorite YouTubers right now, another really influential creator in how I look at media and analyze it. You know, his videos are super in-depth, super long, and lately he hasn't really been doing reviews so much as kind of exposés on Tommy Tallarico and half of YouTube. You know, it's really, his channel has taken an interesting direction, but I am here for it. There's a reason why he has a shit ton of patrons, because there is no other content like it on YouTube. Another one of my favorite creators that I got into around this time is Summoning Salt. He makes speedrun documentaries, literally invented a genre, and his stuff is all good. Like, there's tons of drama in the way he tells the stories, and, you know, even if the story itself doesn't seem that interesting on the surface, Summoning Salt will make it interesting. And when he does have, you know, a story that is inherently interesting, like his Tetris video, that, like, brings it to the next level. He has some of the best content on YouTube, especially when the story is that good. Let's see, some other content creators I used to be into. I'm sort of going all over the place, but this is, you know, the modern era where I'm just sort of throwing stuff out there. You know, and there's less of a linear timeline of me being into certain communities at certain times, and more so just me being into a whole lot of stuff at different times. For example, going back to commentary, I used to be a Willie Mac Show fan. And as far as I can tell, his content hasn't really gone downhill at all. If anything, it's probably gotten better. It's just not really my cup of tea anymore. So he's still going strong. You know, a lot of these creators are still going strong. I also used to be an ER fan. ER is racist. Yeah, so the awkward truth about ER, which is something that a lot of people deny, is that the guy is actually, like, he has an issue ideologically. He has quite a few of them. He is openly transphobic in one of his old videos. He is probably racist, almost certainly sexist. He's got a lot of bad beliefs, right? I could make an entire rant about what the proof for this is, and he always hides behind the idea that it's a joke. But unlike other comedians like Mumkey Jones, for example, where it obviously is a joke, like anytime he's pretending to believe something, it is clear as day, like obvious. He obviously doesn't believe these things. And the way he says it is ridiculous. But with ER, the joke is, oh, well, here's an article from the Daily Storm that says that lesbians are violent because there was a domestic abuse case between them. And that's the punchline. That's not a joke. And it still astounds me to this day that ER is accepted within most circles. And the reason why he is accepted in so many circles, why he's still allowed on podcasts like EFAP, is because he hides behind the idea that it is sarcastic. And me being 15 when I first got into him, I actually did believe that, because I was, big into edgy humor, right? And so I was like, oh, ER is just one of us. He's not. He's a wolf in sheep's clothing. He is actually racist. He is actually when people say problematic, normally they're full of shit. This is like the one time where it's actually true. He is actually problematic. And for a while, I watched him even in spite of that, because my logic was, well, I use ad block, so, I'm not really giving him money. But after a while, I just started kind of finding his perpetually smug attitude in his videos kind of infuriating. And two, I just couldn't handle it. I'm like, this guy there's clearly something up here. Like, he's actually a problem. I'm not joking. Let's see, other creators that I like. I mean, I'm subscribed to a whole bunch of people. Oh, and ER, like, barely uploads nowadays. So, there's that. That's where he is. Are there any other interesting stories from my sub box? I've talked about most of my favorite YouTubers right now. I used to really be into Content back when that podcast still existed. Rest in peace. It's how me and Neon met each other, though, so that's cool. Fuck, I mean, are there any other super interesting stories? Let me go to my sub box and actually look at it. I guess as for very recent creators that I'm into, oh yeah, like, there are a ton of other creators that I'm skipping over. I had a chess phase, so I used to be a Gotham chess fan, and I bought his way overpriced book. I regret buying his way overpriced book. It was like $60 or something. I never even read it. I don't even like chess anymore. That's like one of my biggest regret purchases ever. Let's see, what other fucking creators? I used to like Unique Namesaurus back when he uploaded, but now he made a big video on NFTs, which I watched about an hour of, half paying attention to it, and he had some pretty good arguments, actually, but I still disagree with him fundamentally. NFTs bad. I used to be a Solar Sands fan, but his Twitter is, like, really weird. Solar Sands seems like a really weird guy if you go on his Twitter. He seems really depressed. He believes that there's objective ways to critique art, which is always a red flag for me. He is against porn art, which on the surface isn't bad. Like, I can see that take. But his specific rationale is that the more degenerate it is, i.e. the more it deviates from classic missionary sex, the worse it is. Which is a weird way to call it immoral. Like, that's not why... Look, there are arguments against pornographic art that I think are reasonable. That's not one of them. That is not how you argue against it, ethically speaking. That is a weird way to have that take. It really is. Let's see. What other guys am I into? Recently, I found a video from a guy named Mart Snack called beating every version of Pokemon Platinum. And it is fascinating. If you don't know the premise of the video, he creates a series of inputs that always beat Pokemon Platinum, no matter what RNG seed you're on, because there are a limited number of seeds you can have in the game, 4.6 billion, and he crafts a series of inputs that accounts for every possible piece of RNG you could have. It is fascinating. It is one of my favorite videos of the entire year. He only has 2 videos, the other being him doing the same thing on Pokemon Fire Red, but I instantly subbed. I was like, this guy is going places. This guy is good. Yeah, Yeah, I don't think there are any other super interesting stories. Like, I could go on talking about literally every creator I'm subbed to, but I think I've got the broad strokes of my, just time through YouTube in general and all the creators I've enjoyed over the years, and just, calling it in broad strokes. Nowadays, I don't really specialize in any specific type of content on YouTube. I just sort of watch everything. And if it's good, I'll watch it, right? That's sort of what I'm getting at here. And yeah, this is probably the longest rant I'll ever do. That's about it. See ya.